All right, we live. We're live. I'm live. Overcoming Thanatophobia. That's what this episode is about. I think I did an episode about Thanatophobia in the original post podcast, but I shelved a lot of those. I'm trying to do some different type of projects with those. I think there's like a cat meowing in the background somewhere. That's annoying, but I'm a rock out. But yeah, I realized that what's the word I use? I use secretive about thoughts, projects, ideas, and like the process because I have a lot of big picture ideas and I have a lot of bigger projects that I kind of want to reveal. And I understand that the smaller steps get me there, but sometimes I don't bridge the gap between the end goal, like the big project, and little steps in between. See, right? And I feel like the clips kind of the post the IG post hit their mark instead of I'll rephrase. I was gonna say instead of investing time doing posts, but instead of like concentrating and like dedicating a lot more time to post, just doing this live, man, and pulling clips from it, posting it, and kind of moving it along so that I can still focus on the bigger picture products. I've been having like a fun week on Reddit, a fun past few weeks on Reddit. And I always talk about Reddit because that's the only thing I enjoy. But even now, like I go through it and I'm like this is boring because it's the same content. And I know it's me and what I follow, but it's what interests me currently. But just seeing a lot of people like, and again, in the nihilism groups, pessimism groups, just trying to add value to the philosophy, right? Nothing matters. Well, I have a philosophy that nothing matters. The philosophy itself, when, for you to exist and consume and be part of the system, but not want to add value to the overall experience. And I'm not saying, and I know that's not the case for all nihilists. And I think, I do see like a lot of elevated thought nihilists where it isn't just nothing matters and I'll do what I want. There's conscious and mindful. There's value nihilism where you feel nothing matters, but you still try to be the best person you can. And that's kind of maybe the space that I'm in. I think earlier today I was gonna is the gray and doing what I need to do while I'm here. Yeah, so someone posted about nihilism and thanatophobia in the nihilism subreddit. And I think someone replied like you're in the wrong subreddit. And I was just excited to see that connection. Like I was excited to see someone just ask the question. Like it gives me space to kind of share my thoughts, share my opinions, going through. I talk about the pessimism. I talk about the nihilism. I talk about the unhealthy narcissism. I talk about thanatophobia. Well, I haven't talked about the thanatophobia, but talking about it now. And just the negative outlooks on life and my value and the human species and all of that. So I just wrote a reply that I used to have panic attacks, used to be knee deep in thanatophobia. I used to be heavy into nihilism, but I changed my perspective. I changed how I saw myself. I changed how I saw the world to me. About nihilism or about thanatophobia, and sent me like a nice long message wanting to ask how I kind of got through it. So I was going through my work day, and I said, I'll give me a few. I'm finishing up some work, and I'll respond to you. Just went out for a quick smoke walk, right? And kind of wanted to talk about something today because it's been a while, and didn't have anything. But then this thought, what if I just do an episode talking about how I overcame thanatophobia instead of just, writing out a condensed version of it, because it doesn't do justice. There's no way to condense the experience of like trying to, find who you are, find your place, find your space, find, I mean, also not even find, enough with the find words, but just accept this journey, accept this life experience, and find whatever, create rather. I'm stuck on finds. Create their message and answer, and send them the link and hope that they watch it and hope that they gain insight. But yeah, so like somewhere between I say 2007. No, it's too late. 2007, 2010 was like the first attack, first panic attack from Thanatophobia. And I also shared a link to an article I wrote about it, just kind of detailing the transition and the experience. But yeah, it's late night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, watching Cowboy Bebop. And I write that, I've watched it before. I've watched the series in its entirety plenty of times, like at least 2 or 3 times by now. But by that moment, excuse me. Right now it's probably like 7, 8, 9, 10 times. But I watched the ending. Excuse me. And for whatever reason on that day, at that moment in time, when the ending happened, I connected it to myself, right? The common belief by some people is that, Spike dies. Some people believe he doesn't. He didn't. But for me, I saw death. And my next thought was, all right, okay. What happens to Jet? What happens to Faye? What's Ed's story? Like, I just spent these past 26 episodes following these people on part of their life journey. I feel connected to their life. What's next? And hence there was nothing. There was nothing next. Creators didn't write anymore, right? And then for my life, I thought about myself. I thought about my story. And at that time, I wasn't trying to create a story. I was just trying to find space, and I was just trying to make sense of it and brooding over just, a lot of things, which I'll just get into it now so I don't forget. No. I will forget. So I won't go into it now. But yeah, just in a rough space and just trying to figure out the next life steps and feeling like I've just been misguided and wasted a bunch of years of my life. And I did lose the thought. But anyway, so yeah, at home late night. Yeah, watch the story. What happens next? What happens next, right? Thought about my life and thought about at some point, I'll die and that'll be it. There'll be no stories to tell about me. There'll be no stories for me to hear about. There'll be nothing. I won't exist. And I sat on that thought of not existing. And I repeated it. It's over and over my head. I won't exist someday. I won't exist someday. I won't exist someday. And like really trying to comprehend what it means to like not exist. To just end. That's it. Like end, over, period. Like nothing, no awareness, no consciousness, nothing. It's over. It's a heavy thought, man. It's a heavy thought. It's a heavy, heavy thought. That's part of it, right? You get stuck thinking about things you shouldn't, and that's part of what happens. Life. you shouldn't have to worry about certain things at certain ages. And this kind of ties in with my journey. Attack happened. Energy is just vibrating in me. Tears start rolling down my face. My mother's in the next room, and I grab a pillow and I just bite into it, and I'm just trying to rip it apart. Cause I needed the energy to go somewhere. I wasn't gonna yell. I wasn't gonna scream. I didn't want that. I don't want my mother to come and ask me what was wrong. Couldn't do it. So I just mangled the pillow. Breathing was labored, heart was racing, couldn't catch my breath. My eyes open, like just stuck in this terror and fear that I've never experienced in my life. I've never been as scared as that first time. It's a new experience. Like I'm having a panic attack for the first time is a new experience. It's a heavy experience. Yeah. And eventually, it just subsided. I don't remember why, how, just stopped. I sat on the edge of the bed and I was like, what the fuck just happened? I didn't understand what a panic attack was. I didn't understand. I was confused. But I knew it was rooted in not existing. So this is a very long story. This started recurring night after night. I couldn't go to bed early. I knew it was rooted in being up late at night because it was always like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning when the world was quiet and I was aware that that everyone else is probably sleeping. And they say sleep is the cousin of death, so there's some type of subconscious connection, right? They're not aware of what's going on in the world because they're asleep, and I am doing these things, and at some point, I won't be aware of what's going on in the world. But for eternity, right? It's a heavy thought, man. It's a heavy thought. So through that, so I was already dealing with depression, not kind of aligning with, not finding, it's feeling like a failure, like barely graduating with my associate's degree and having to change majors because I just didn't have the skill level to pass math and science classes. Like my brain wasn't into it. And again, relative, I understand college is a luxury, right? But still the weight of all the other years of what would be the bill. And this is also during a time where my Christianity was kind of waning. I started thinking about purpose. And if I die and I no longer exist and my thoughts are no longer with me, then it means that all that's left of me is residue and memories in other people's mind in whatever capacity. But at some point, they'll die, and then I just won't exist at all in any capacity. I won't be a memory for someone. I won't be someone's great-great-grandfather. Just gone. I was all rooted in myself. I talked about before, like pessimism, all the negativity, all the negative thoughts that's rooted in the other side of narcissism, the unhealthy self-deprecating side of narcissism versus the. So then I thought, I was like, we live our lives for other people, right? If I live, exist, succeed, and do all these things, I mean, innately, I always knew that my life was rooted in some type of community aspect, serving the community in terms of just perspective and growing up, I always just said I was fair. I try to be fair, regardless of who I'm talking to, regardless of who is at fault. I share both perspectives to give insight, and for me, that it lessens the anger, or the frustration, or the tension of the moment. Right? Once you see your fault, you see their fault. Like I've been saying in these past episodes. Once you take ownership, like, what is my fault in this situation? And once you learn that, once you accept that, the burden is lighter. Excuse me. But let's fix this up a little bit. Excuse me. But yeah. So I'm sure this shit is loud as fuck, man. Damn. I went to a sociology professor. Funny guy, great class. I barely even went to those classes. I would just most of sociology was just common sense to me. So was psychology. It just made sense. The things that they were saying, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that being true. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, or I've thought about them. I had these thoughts. I just didn't have the language to kind of shape it. But college helped kind of fill in those blanks. That's one of the reasons why I love education, because I know I have we all have limited understanding and perspective, right? But I know about mine. I accept mine, and I want to expand on it, and I want to fill in the gaps, and I want the influence. I want to be inspired by other people's work to shape and kind of define my own work. Again, that's the purpose for me. So I think the purpose for all of us is to inspire and, again, push the life experience forward. So I asked the professor. I think, depressed. And did a makeup. I'm doing an exam. I'm like, I'm gonna ask him this question, and I'm nervous because I respect his knowledge, his experience, his perspective, because of he's shown me to kind of be an objective person. The way he just talks about life experiences. Like, remember he said he had like maybe 4 heart surgeries over his life, and like 3 divorces, and people ask him like what was the worst part of your life, and he always says the divorces, right? Because like the kids involved and stuff like that. Like, the worst part of his life isn't about himself. It's about the pain it inflicts on the people he loves. That's dope. That's a dope perspective. Finish the exam, and I go up to him and I say, Professor, do you think we live our lives for other people? We live, we do all these, and I said it very simple, like, we live, we commit to all these acts, we inspire, and then we die, and all we are memories. And people say, yeah, all right. I said, thank you. I walked out and I was furious, right? I took it personal. I was like, yo, he laughed at me. He laughed. I wanted something to latch onto. I wanted some hope. I wanted this person whose opinion I respected to give me some hope to push through. And he didn't have it for me. I sat with the thought. I can live with this. I don't want to. I shouldn't have to. I can live with it. I think I had a panic attack on a subway once, but I bossed up. I kept it to myself. I was just, the face was tight. My body was rigid. I wouldn't let it. Pride, right? I'm not gonna let anyone see me break. Only I see that side of myself. That's real, right? That's real. But the fault in that also is, when I wrote, I did this post something along the lines of, when you build walls, you build like unimpenetrable walls for security. You also build walls to not allow yourself to be loved, because sometimes we don't know how to balance it. We just build the wall, like, all right, fuck everyone. All right, if you fuck everyone, then like, how can people love you, right? You don't you build doors, right? Like certain people get VIP access to you, right? Certain people, when they get through the second layer, like there needs to be layers to you. There needs to be layers to your personality, layers to what you give the world, what you give individuals. Certain people only get certain aspects. Certain people only get to go through certain doors, right? Everyone doesn't sit with you in a green room, right? Everyone can't. You pick and choose. But yeah, life went on. Started drinking a lot more. Heavily. And I said before, I drink, I sit in the mirror, just talk to myself, confront myself, speak my truth to myself. It worked. It worked on one aspect. I've drank to the point where whatever happened, happened. Whatever happened, happened. I've been on that time before. I've been on that time before. Right? You want it, but you don't want it. Right? You pump fake. You pump fake for a reason, because you know it's not who you really are. That's not how you're supposed to live or not live. You know that's not your experience. But the conditioning, right, imposes that on you. Tells you to check out. It does, right? It does. The pressure of it all, right? The pressure of it all on your phone, the pressure of it all in your neighborhood, right? You feel the world is tense when you go outside. You feel it. You feel it. Now more so than before, right? Because we didn't have then what we have now. Excuse me. But I was looking ahead. Like I studied sociology. I studied psychology. I studied philosophy. I studied the humanities. Studied religion. I needed to understand and make sense of us as a species, right? I wanted to understand. I don't blame people for who they are, man. Excuse me. I don't blame people for what they are. And I'll retract that. I don't blame people for who they are and what they are. I blame them for who they choose to be. Who they continue to choose to be. It ain't your fault, like I say. It ain't your fault. And that's why I'm objective. I know there's fucked up things about me. Conditioning, right? It's not an excuse. It's just the reality. Just the reality. I'm a hard motherfucker. I say I'm gonna wear you out. I'm an exhaustive person. It's conditioning. Just what it is. Just who I am. Some people deal with it. Some people can't. I can live with that. The people who can live with it, they fuck with me and they see the best sides of me. The people who can't, right? You lost VIP access, right? I lose VIP access to them. They lose VIP access to me. It's mutual, right? We're both in each other's room. There's nothing to be upset about. In 2012, I just quit my job. I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't stand being in New York. It's gloomy. I don't like people all over me. I just don't like it. I feel boxed in everywhere. No matter where I go, I feel boxed in. I left. Went to Buenos Aires for a month. Another city, right? But it's a different experience. A luxury, right? I worked for that though. Like I worked. You know, I've always wanted to work. I've always wanted to have my own money to do my own thing. But I work. Those last years, 2007 through 2010, 18, 21 credits, 40-hour work week. Only had Sundays off. I work. I'm a workhorse. I am. But I've transitioned it so that I do it for myself. That's what it should be. To go to Buenos Aires and just trying to figure it out. Didn't go to Miami, and that's why I figure it out. That's why I figure it out. Away from the city life, away from the gloom of New York City, away from just the cement, the disconnect from nature, from the natural healing we all need. I found it. Beach, the shore, the sand, the water, the sun, exercising, running. It freed me, right? The city was literally, not literally, not literally. The city was boxed. I felt boxed in. I felt boxed in. I felt boxed in New York, man. And being in Miami, this gave me that first initial step of seeing the importance of being outside of nature, man. Soaking in the sun every morning. When I didn't have to work, I grab a yoga mat. I didn't grab a yoga. Sometimes I grab a yoga mat and do straight yoga and the workouts. And some days I just lace up, shorts, and just I jog up and down the shoreline, meditate. I do yoga stretches. Start my day. Stress-free life, man. Stress-free life. And it showed me the initial path. It showed me the initial steps. It showed me I need space. I need to feel like I can explore. I need to feel like I can take a bus to some random part of town and just walk around and not see and not just feel like everyone's all over you. I need space. I need space. And it gave me the taste of medicine. It gave me that taste. Through that, working out, I started writing more. And writing was something that I was gifted in as a child. But no one knew the wiser to cultivate the skill. Yeah, I was gonna say curate again because I was stuck on curate. But no one knew wiser to cultivate the skill. It was just like, your son's a good writer. Thank you, and me, thank you, and I got an A. Okay, cool. I got the grade, and that's it. It's the physical manifestation of life. Do the work. Manifest everything that's up here, everything that's important to you, right? If happiness is important to you, you manifest it up here first. And then you condition it. You condition it into your life. But you have to find what makes you happy. And for me, the writing was the initial path. Just started writing on a blog. I said, go to Buddha. Just writing about my experience in Miami. One day I was sitting on a bench in the park, and I just see women playing basketball. It was 3-on-3. I said, you don't see that. And I'm like, yo, this is freedom, right? Seeing other people be free. That's freedom, right? And I started learning that, it's not just about me. It's not just about me. Right? I wrote about seeing Cuban men, right? Gray chest hair, gold chains, his belly's out walking. Free. That's what people go to Miami to do, to live free, man. To be free. That's the place for freedom on the East. At least that's what it was. I lived in Miami in its prime, right before it just became another city. I learned freedom. I started expressing myself freely. Whatever I wanted to do. If I wanted to wake up, like I said, and take the bus to another part of town, that's what I did. I felt free enough to do it. If I want to watch the sunset, free to do it. No obstructions. If I want to watch the sunrise, free to do it. No obstruction. Right? I used to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning just to go to the beach and watch the sunrise. Or I woke up. It was like a red moon one night at like 3 a.m. I set an alarm. I woke up, went to the park, sat there by myself, and just watched the moon. It's free to exist, free to do whatever I want. And that's the first step. Doing more of what you want. And it's relative, right? Like, I needed to escape New York to maybe find the courage to be free or to really feel free. Relativity. What's relative to your life and your experience that you can use in the moment to get you where you need to be? Starts with baby steps. You've been on the other side for so long. Big leaps and bounds aren't going to get you over. You got to take baby steps. You do the small things, you get the small victories, small wins, and you start feeling better about yourself. Exercise is something that's always made me feel good about myself. It's discipline. Pushing through. One more. And doing 2 more. Running and wanting to quit. Going another quarter mile. Or just getting a little burst at the end. Every little bit helps. Like I said, I use the exercise because it's easy. It's free. I can do it anywhere. I mean, I've been working out since I was a kid. Working out in our kitchen, doing pull-ups on the ledge, dips with chairs. Whatever you have, you find something. It's not going to be a grand scale transformation, a grand scale awareness. But you look in the mirror, for me, you look in the mirror and you see the tone definition. I feel good. I feel good when I see the mask. I feel good when I feel good when I think I look good. And that's like the easiest first thing you can do, right? Exercise is easy. It's just you and your body. Just a push-up, just a crunch, just a leg lift, just a squat. Just you and your body. That's it. You don't need anything to do that. That's a great place to start. The writing was being creative. I went for an interview to be an associate editor for this cruise line, and didn't work out, but just received a lot of good feedback. From there, just started writing more. Started writing for this new lifestyle magazine that was out there. Kept switching jobs. Just I've done all I can here. I need more money. And again, I know the work aspect is different and challenging. And I'll touch on that a bit later. Just started looking for different ways just to write. Like I have a skill. I can do this. I can write. I know I can write. I just need a little guidance. And found this internship for a women's health site. Wrote a few articles for them for about 2-3 months. I said got offered a full contract job with them. And through it all, it's still writing. Writing for myself, but also writing to get paid. Small wins. I knew I could, like I said, exercise, that's something I know I can do. I know I can move my body on my own. Writing is something that I knew I had a skill in. Knew I had potential. I just needed to cultivate it, right? And the best way to be a better writer is to keep writing, right? The best way to be better at anything is to keep doing it, right? You want to be a better basketball player, you practice. That's what any skill is. Like me writing a blog in 2013 is practice, leading up to where my skill level is now. And what I'm doing now, 10 years from now, this is still practice. I'm still practicing. working my skills. I'm working my way up. So a little over the halfway mark. So I'm gonna go into the Reddit message that I got. All right, so hey there. So a comment you posted on overcoming managing your Thanatophobia, and I'm wondering how you went about doing that. In the past 6 months, I found myself losing the drive and motivation to pursue goals which used to give me a sense of purpose or motivation. When I was younger, setbacks like this were easier to manage because although I knew I was getting older, I didn't feel like it or see it much. In this past year, I no longer feel that way, and it stresses me out greatly. Science, in a way, was my religion. As a teen, I used belief in a singularity or cure for aging as an opium. I still find myself trying to do so by visiting subreddits on those topics 500 years, let alone one lifetime. Anyways, my point is that when I feel that everywhere I look, people are only able to remain optimistic about life by deluding themselves. And while I realize my strong negative biases may be coloring this belief, I nonetheless can't seem to shake it. Sorry for this massive wall of text. I guess I'm just desperate to find people who feel or have felt similar to how I've been feeling in an attempt to stop feeling this way. Yeah, that's heavy, man. That's heavy. So like a couple of things kind of stand out to me. And one is I still find myself trying to do so by visiting subreddits. I see a lot of naive optimism and hype that is misplaced. And I think that's still a challenge for me. Like I said, I had to stop using Twitter. I had to get rid of a bunch of subreddits. And this shifts your perspective on what you want to consume. That where you see people being naive or misplaced. Interject, right? Share your perspective and create space for the dialogue. Because if we don't, this kind of goes back to the idea of like gatekeeping and not wanting to shift the narrative of an ideology. All ideologies need to be challenged, right? So for myself, when I'm on subreddits and someone posts something, I say, why? Like someone posted, I think maybe another subreddit, someone was like, this doesn't belong here. And I'm like, why? Right? People, it's easy. Like I said, it's easy to have an opinion and to state something in one sentence, but challenge it. Challenge what doesn't seem fitting. Challenge what seems outdated. And again, create the space for dialogue. It's going to allow you to kind of express yourself on one aspect, and maybe someone will reply, right? Maybe they'll oppose your view, maybe they'll add on to your view, but you still gain something from it. It'll help either strengthen your resolve, or if you're objective, help you readjust your belief. Excuse me. Right? Or like that, the message within itself, like sending the message, like that's part of the step. Connecting with people, connecting with like-minded people, connecting with people who are open to dialogue, people who are open to have similar views like you. Just reach out. The topics within themselves, the subreddits within themselves, there's unfortunate, right? There's no more value in them. And like that's what it's slowly becoming. We went from communicating with our neighbors and our friends to telephones to this, Facebook when it's just people to the whole world, right? And now we're downsizing back into the subreddits, and now downsizing to the private messages because those feel like the only safe spaces to have real conversation. I think I mentioned this. Excuse me. I mentioned that I was having a dialogue back and forth with someone on Reddit, like maybe last month, And one of my responses to him was like, what are your opinions? Like, what do you think? Because you're just replying like a robot, like you're just saying scripted language. And when I think he messaged me or I messaged him, I can't remember. But when we got into the private message, he was a real person. He was a real person. He was like, yeah, he was just a real person. He was a real person. And I'm like, you see what I mean? Like when we're in these spaces, we kind of think we're supposed to speak a certain way. You think we're supposed to speak like philosophers or like how we think philosophers speak based on television, but it's not real. It's not relative. It has the language and the perspective has to be modernized. And if you keep the same tone, we keep the same, the same language and same perspective, it limits the experience for people like you, for people like me, for people who, I kind of believe in this, but, I think there's more to it, right? Ideologies are allowed to have layers, right? How many sub-denominations of Christianity, or is it just denomination, excuse me? How many denominations of Christianity are there? It's allowed to have sub-layers. They're allowed to be layers. They're allowed to be different ideologies, still kind of rooted. Like I said, I called myself an agnostic nihilist because I kind of believe, I kind of don't, and I'm okay with either or. I'm still going to do what I need to do. But also, like, even within that, the challenge is looking for other people and their language and their attitude and their perspective. So specifically, I'd say get back in touch with yourself. No longer having the drive to do what this past year, right? Past year and a half has been brutal for all of us, most of us. Tired. It's exhausting. But again, what do you want? What do you want? Like, you start with there. What do you want for yourself? From the message, I assume you want to feel fulfilled. You want to get back into your drives, get back into your passion. And the single most important thing I've learned is to just do the work. Do the work and do the work, do the work. Earlier today, I was just thinking about how I just work all the time. I rarely take a day off. I may take a moment off, half a day off, but I always work. I'm always working. I know there's always work to do. I know there's always something to build on. And just thinking about how people call me a robot because of my emotionally challenged self, which I'm aware of. But like, I flipped it. I was like, I'm a robot because, a robot has a mission, right? The robot doesn't sleep. The robot just has a mission, and the robot's mission is whatever it's designed to do. I'm a robot, but I'm self-defined. Excuse me. I'm a robot, but I'm self-defined. I define my purpose, so that's why I feel the need to keep working. And keep working until I feel somewhat fulfilled, until the mission feels done. What's your mission? Because once you know the mission, you know that all you have to do is work toward it. That's it. That's the first step. And believe in the mission, right? That's part of it too. What do you want to believe in? What do you believe in? I take it from the message that you want to believe in yourself. You want to believe in your values. You want to believe in the life experience. So how do you want to contribute to it? How do you plan to contribute to it? Starting with those, yeah, you start with those. I've been practicing writing. That's how I want to contribute. I want to write. I want to write. Started out as blogs, transitioning into books. I want to write a rom-com by the time I'm 40. I want to write. I want to do a lot. I want to do a lot. But where can you start at? Relative to your life experience, relative to what you have, relative to what you have access to, relative to your capital. What can you start at? What can you start with? Start with self. It always, always, always has to start with self. You're not going to find happiness on the internet, right? Because it's still the external. It has to be rooted in whatever you have defined and want for yourself. So you do that. You find it, you establish it, you say, okay, this is what I want, and you work toward it. And it evolves. Excuse me. I don't know why I didn't decide the high-pitched voice. And it evolves, right? It evolves. And it's supposed to evolve. It's supposed to evolve with you. It's supposed to evolve with your life experience. It's supposed to evolve as you learn new things, gain new skills, gain new perspective, meet new people, find new inspiration. It evolves. But it can't evolve if you aren't putting the work behind it. And that's how, that was the process for getting away from Thanatophobia. I was part of it. There's a lot of steps to it. It's a multi-layered, like it's not one thing at a time, right? You're doing the work. I mean, again, this is since 2012 for me. Still doing the work, still going through the journey. But I've learned, and I might have said this before, I've learned in my life that the only way I get what I want, the only way I'm going to stay happy, the only way I'm going to achieve my self-defined purpose and support people I care about is by moving forward. I have to move forward. Whenever I move forward, things fall into play for me. When I take risk on myself, things fall into place for me. I started following this like freelance Twitter account, and they posted about an essay contest in Brooklyn Nonfiction Prize. Thought about it, then went back and forth. Sent the entry in, and I won the prize. Like that was huge for me, for my self-worth, self-value. I don't win stuff. That's part of it. Accepting oppression. There is systemic, there is realistic, relative oppression, right? To like your life and your life experience and what you can and can't do, right? It's on every level, metaphysical level, social level, economic level. It exists. That's what it is. You accept that. You accept the limitations that life has. You accept the limitations that exist, right? The limitations are relative. You accept them. You accept them within your time frame of existence. 1492, they weren't thinking about flying planes. They weren't mad. Oh, man, I wish I could fly, man. This shit is whack. Nah, you work with what you have. You work toward the experience. Let someone else do that, but you do what you can. What can you do? What can you do? And the joy, right, is that you get to choose what you want to do. For most of us get to choose what we want to do. So choose. And you accept it. You say, all right, this is what I want to do. And once you've accepted that this is what you want to do, just work at it in whatever capacity you can. Hour today, hour tomorrow, 2 hours next week. Give yourself goals and limits. right? No less than 5 hours of writing a day. No less than 5 hours of painting a week. I want to finish half this book by the end of September. You set goals. You set realistic goals and you honor yourself. When you're feeling down and out, when life is heavy, you honor yourself. You still honor yourself and you keep on honoring yourself. Because stopping doesn't get you anywhere. Slowing down doesn't get you anywhere fast. Slowing down get you there, right? If I do 30, I'll get there eventually. But the speed limit's 65. Why not do 65? You make a choice. Gotta start with yourself. Through the journey. Like I said, it's multi-layered, right? The first step, like I said, like the first step is acceptance, figuring out your purpose, and just working toward it. Like, just do that. You do that. You keep doing that. No matter what goes on, you keep doing that. And everything else, like I talked about chips being on your shoulder, on my shoulder. Little by little, the chips just start unraveling, or they just start becoming irrelevant, right? If I'm so focused on the things that add value to my life, add value to the people I care about, I don't have time to think about the chips. They become irrelevant. Someone like me who analyzes everything, overthinks, I want to fix as much as possible. But at some point you have to find out the root of the Thanatophobia. Because without finding the root, I mean, that's what therapy is. I know I've done self-healing. I support therapy for people who want it, of course. But for me, it's just been a journey of figuring out myself. It's easier this way. It's honestly easier. And that's just a whole nother thing. But finding out the root. Once you find out the root of everything and anything that you need to, that you feel is holding you back, it becomes easier to work through it. The root of Thanatophobia for me is my biological father being murdered, and finding that out. That was the root. It took me time. I didn't understand. I didn't even understand the word or the concept I didn't understand the concept of the experience. I just thinking about myself. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna exist. I'm not gonna exist. Yeah, I'm not, but okay. What more is there? So through the journey, working, writing, exercising, taking care of my health, eating healthy, doing the things that allow me to feel physically well, I was able to start tapping into the mental aspect. What's bringing me down? Why do I feel down? Where did this come from? Because even sometimes when you're in a funk, figuring out where it came from helps you process and reevaluate. I mean, what are you doing to be inspired? Nothing? Then that's the root of the problem, right? That's the root. If the things that used to inspire you aren't anymore, you find new things. Again, relative to your life experience and relative to where you are in life. You keep going forward. Keep going forward. Now, eventually I made the connection. I don't remember when, but I did. I made the connection. And eventually Later in my life, I visited his tombstone for the first time, and it changed everything in me. It was a humbling experience. Humbling experience. But it helped me heal. It helped me accept that, I'm not, death is death, right? There is no there is no me knowing him, right? That's the reality. You know, I when I went to the gravesite, I went with a good friend of mine, and I realized this is the closest I've ever been aware of his existence. Closest I've ever been aware, closest we've ever been of me being aware of him. And he was dead. But it helped me heal. Helped me accept that sometimes we check out. That's it. And eventually, going through just the emotions, the thoughts of accepting the accepting death, right? That's what Thanatophobia really is, right? The inability to accept death. On one aspect, right, it's the fear of death, but it's also inability to accept it. So when you find the root of what's causing your Thanatophobia, you work on accepting it, and working through accepting it. What again? The reality. What's real in the situation, right? You can feel what you feel. You can feel pain. You can feel hurt. But what can you do about it? What can you do about it? For me, nothing. There's nothing I can do. I had to accept it. I had to accept it, and I had to move on. And I haven't moved on completely. Like, there's still a part of me, there's still a child in me, right? Who wants that connection and awareness. But the adult in me that's trying to push forward is just like, yo, keep on accepting it. Accept it. Accept it. Now, for me, I think that's like, I've been telling myself that's probably the most difficult thing I'll ever have to accept. Like, not ever, never being able to just have a dialogue with him. And I know, what we think shapes our perspective and our reality. So, I hope that through me doing this work and me doing this self-healing, at some point, I accept it completely. Right? Maybe when I have children, it's no longer about that. It's no longer about that. I want to say and think, and I'm not, I say, I've never said this, but, I'm not a therapist. I'm just some guy who just lives life and thinks he can figure shit out. But, I lost the thought, but, it's challenging, man. It's challenging. And you have to understand that it's a process. And you have to accept that you might be working forever. I said it's going on. You accept you self-define the purpose, you accept the purpose, and you start working. And as you start working, the skills enhance, the perspective grows. And through it, little things become resolved. Like I accept my funks. I don't even care about them anymore because I know they're not going to last. What used to be years of depression goes into months, goes into weeks, goes into, a few days, man. Like 3 days of just being out after being in a good space for like 5 months, I'm okay with that, man. That's not an L to me. And sometimes it gives you time to pause and think. Sometimes it's you giving yourself permission. Like, you know what? I don't feel good. I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna cool out today. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's okay. And naturally, right? When you see yourself doing the work, doing what you love, doing what adds value to your life, you feel better about yourself. You feel better about your outlook. I didn't like that. You feel better about yourself, and you have a better outlook because you understand if the work that you're rooted in. I mean, in any aspect, right? Like I said, we all feed off of each other. We're all here for each other, right? Bus drivers looking out for you, directly, indirectly. Inspiration and creativity for you to consume and enjoy and use however you want. There are too many things to have in this world. My friend Alexander Belcher, Alex Anderson World, and also the Sports Opinion Log on YouTube. There's too much to have in this world to ever get caught up on one thing. That includes depression. That includes phobia. That includes pessimism. That includes nihilism. That includes misanthropy. That includes politics. That includes anything that does not add value to your life. There's too much to have in this world to let any single thing destroy, ruin, and limit this life experience for you. You deserve better. You deserve the best. But you gotta believe it for yourself. You gotta believe it for yourself. There's no one looking out for you. No one, you know, as I say, right, as I just said, all these things are created and built for you. Not for you, the individual. Not for me, right? They didn't make this for me. They didn't make the camera for me, the individual. They just made it for someone, some guy who might like it, someone who might need it. And I understand that. I understand that I'm just a consumer, but I make the choices on what I want to consume. And that's what makes the difference in my outlook for myself, knowing that there's always a market for you. There's always a market for your innovation. There's always a market for your creativity. There's always a market for your passions. And you don't need to get it to everyone. You just need to get it to the people who need it. That's your responsibility. But you got to accept it, right? You got to create it. You got to set the condition for yourself. And you work. You work. You work. You work. You work. You work. You work your ass off. But you do it righteously. You believe in the work. And you make time for the work. We all, at a certain age, life demands responsibility and time. Right? You got to make money to pay bills, to live, to be part of this life experience. You have to make money. But outside of that, you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest time in yourself. You have to, I'll go back to the running, the yoga, the beach, the meditations, the moments of just taking risk on myself, the moments of just, I want to go watch the moon. I've never seen this before at 3 a.m. and doing it. Those are little investments. Every time you say yes to yourself, that's self-investment. That's part of the experience. That's part of the equation. Honoring yourself. The more you honor yourself, the more you create spaces where you can exist freely, the better you're gonna feel. The more you'll find people in those spaces to communicate with. Actually, like going back to the subreddits. That's sometimes those spaces aren't for you. You may have outgrown the ideology and philosophy. So you find new spaces, or you create your own space. Right? This is a space for me. Right? I don't I haven't met anyone talking about I haven't met anyone talking about all this. So I create the space, and I hope that people listen, find value in it, and let me know, right? And the same goes for you. Whatever you want to create, whatever you want to do, right? Again, there is endless opportunity, man. Endless opportunity. You just have to create it. You define it, you create it, you keep working at it, you shape it, you evolve it, you sculpt it. And it gets better. It gets better. So at another point, they wrote, anyways, my point is that I feel like everywhere I look, people are only able to remain optimistic about life by deluding themselves. Again, looking at other people. Like there's, like, life is it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Like, we're in an exhaustive climate, especially if you're someone who considers themselves a free thinker, someone who believes in the individual in some capacity, someone who believes in free thought and free expression, someone who enjoys philosophy, someone who doesn't live on the surface. It's an exhaustive time. Because regardless of the realities people choose of who's right and who's wrong, right? Regardless of the black and white, as the gray spectator, you see fault on both sides. Or if you do look at people, I'm not saying you live in an echo chamber, but you balance out the spaces that add value to your life with the spaces that you're interested in, but just take a little bit out of you every time you join them. I think that's fair and that's balanced, right? Like you never want to be disconnected from it all. Never want to be disconnected from it all. I've said this before, like on Twitter, I follow people I don't agree with and people I do. I follow conservatives. I follow liberals who I don't agree with. I follow conservatives who I don't agree with. Socialists, alleged American communists, whatever the fuck that means. But yeah, I want to understand, I want to see their thought pattern. I want to understand how they think and why they think these things. And as an outsider, you see that they don't see that they're wrong, right? They don't see their fault, rather, on all sides. And I'm sure when they look at me, right, they think I don't see I'm at fault because I haven't chosen a side. I rather that, right? I rather that. I rather be. Can you stand on your own? Can you stand on your own, right? There's this song with Rick Ross. Where is it at? Rick Ross, called Nobody. And an intro, and they have like intros and interludes with Diddy talking to one of his artists. I think it's, who's this guy? Who's he talking to? King Los. I mean, I've heard of him, but I've never heard any song by him. And Diddy goes, you wanted to fuck around. You wanted to fucking, excuse me, you wanted to fucking walk around with these roaches. These niggas is roaches. These niggas is mere motherfucking mortals. I'm trying to push you to supreme being, knowing when this shit is gonna stop. So I listen to music. I listen to quotes. I listen to listen to people speak. And I always look for the bigger picture behind it. On the surface, when you, excuse me. On the surface, right, when you Excuse me, damn. On the surface, when you hear those lyrics, you think you're just talking about music and entertainment, and he very well could be. But I'm looking at bigger picture. I'm looking at life. So, you want to walk around with these roaches. These niggas is roaches. These niggas is mere motherfucking mortals. I'm trying to push you to supreme being. Now imagine someone like Diddy telling passion, the genius to create on the level that he does, to push culture forward as he has. It's not about the music business per se. It's about life. When you say these people are roaches, the majority of us, right? What's the phrase? Are sheep, right? Just going along, doing what we're told to do. Supreme being. Just having awareness, having knowledge, seeing a bigger picture, right? That's all it is. Trying to tell you to elevate your perspective and understanding of life. You don't want to embrace your destiny. You want to get by. That's what the majority of us do. That's you not living your passions. That's you not putting effort into your values, the things you care about. It's you not honoring yourself. Your destiny, again, is self-defined. Your life is self-defined. Excuse me. But you don't want to do the work. You want to complain, you want to whine. It's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. And I'm not saying you directly, the person who wrote me this, but you in general. You don't want to work. Collectively, the majority, right? The sheep don't want to work. They just want to get by where it's safe. They want to do what they're told. They want to get in where they fit in. And that's fine. But for the people who don't, for the people who have dreams and ambition, people who are creative, people who have passions, people who want to inspire, at some point, right, you gotta start doing the work. You don't want to go into the motherfucking dark where it's lonely. You can't handle the pain, the pain of the motherfucking not knowing when this shit is gonna stop. And I looked at that as life, right? The journey of a creative is lonely. The journey of people who have passions, the journey of people who, when you think of, I don't know, I go to sports, I think of Kobe Bryant, I think of Michael Jordan. It's a lonely journey. Because there's something in you that other people don't have, that doesn't match what other people have, right? There's a tenacity and a drive, right? To wake up at 3 a.m. to go shoot hoops, to work on your free throws, to work on your jump shot. A lot of people don't have that drive, man, right? People rather be at clubs. People rather get by, right? I only practice when the coach tells me to practice. That's just getting by, right? Now, I mean, I don't really watch basketball anymore, but you look at there's a lot of no names, right? I mean, everyone has a name now because of social media, but prior to that, star was the star, and they were the star not because, I mean, now you have greatness on your side, right? And you can either work along with it. You can up your skills, up your ante, work on your game, work late night so you can be a part of greatness. Or you can just go, practice when the coach tells you to practice. The majority of us, like I said, are doing okay. The majority of us have capital, have access to things we need to change our lives. We just don't. We fall into the loop. We fall into the depression. We fall into the oppressive nature of our existence. Because we're going out looking for the external to give us value. The external doesn't have it. The external has zero value for you. The external is just a tool for you to use. You have all the value you need. The ideas come from you. They come from your brain. They come from your genius. The external can just inspire you. The external can just offer you the tools. But the external can't create what you uniquely have. It has to come from you. So you can be your own individual supreme being. You can be Diddy with Jay, with Pharrell, with Nas, etc. Or you can not be, right? Remember, it doesn't have to be at that level, right? It just has to be a level that's relative to you. Being a supreme being is self-defined also. Nice. It's master class. It's being a master of your own skill sets, a master of your field. That's what people respect, right? I shop at Canon. I'm looking at my Canon camera. I got this because I respect the Canon brand. They have a legacy, right? Benjamin Moore, you know their brand and their name. That's why you shop there. So it's all it is, man. It's on a grand scale. It's on a larger capitalistic scale. But again, it just has to be relative to you and what you want with culture. What the fuck is their souls? What defines you? These niggas with these fucking silly looks on their faces. You want to walk around with them or you want to walk with God, nigga? Make up your goddamn mind. Yeah, more arrogance, more narcissism, right? I mean, Diddy's a narcissist, as he should be. Hell, it's a relative, and it's relative narcissism, right? Looking at what he's accomplished, he has every right to believe in himself. He has every right to be given advice. He has every right to be sunning a rapper. He has every right. We can question some of his business dealings and some of his failed acts, but he has a right. He has a right. It's like, what's your choice in life, right? Do you wanna walk with these niggas? You wanna walk with these people? People who are miserable, people who are sheep, people who can't evolve their own life philosophies? Who do you want to be around? Who do you want to be with? Who do you want to be part to be? Who's in your community? That's what this says to me. Where's their culture? Where's their soul, right? Where's their culture? They don't have one because they're following what everyone else does. They're following the ideology. They're following. You take with it. You take from it what you need, but you make it your own. What's your choice? That's what it boils down to. What's your choice? Who do you choose to be? Who do you choose to associate with? Who do you choose to live your life as? You talked about being unable to shake negative biases. Some things you can't shake. Some things you can't shake. I have a natural racist disdain toward white people collectively because of history. I can't shake that. I can't. I know not all. I know everyone. I know, I don't believe in white guilt. I don't believe in guilt through existence. I don't believe any of that. But it's just a feeling that I have, man. It's just like, fuck. Right? It's just a heavy feeling that I have. But I don't embrace it. I don't carry it out through my existence. It's a feeling, right? The feeling is the feeling. You can feel whatever you want. What matters is how you go about living. What matters is how you interact with these people, right? So going back to the subreddits, when you having these dialogues, I mean, like I say, force the conversation, create the space. Like sometimes being the gray, you have to wedge yourself in, between the dialogue. Create your space. Like a genuine philosophy. Like, what does that mean? How? They never reply. They didn't respond to that. Responded to some other things, but challenge the narrative. That's what we all should be doing, right? Through our life, and definitely always challenging the narrative. Always challenging what we're being told, challenging what we're being sold, challenging who's telling it to us, why they're telling it to us. And through it all, right? Making it relative to you. What doesn't matter, so you don't think about it. What does? How can I relatively get involved? How can I relatively support? I can't? Okay. Stop worrying about it. What can I do though? What can I work on? What can I fix? Who can I support? Who can I guide? Who can I show up for? Who can I support? Who can I love better? Those are the people that matter, right? The people who don't add value to your life, they don't matter. They don't matter. You know, it's rare that you'll change their perspective. It's rare that they'll come around, especially in the type of social climate we're in. So focus on the people you can inspire, right? Or just do the work that matters to you and let the work speak for itself. 3 type of people, right? It's alpha, beta, sigma. Alpha is the leader. The beta follows. The sigma does it on their own. Who are you? Who are you? Said I'm a sigma. Do it on my own. I don't need no one to guide me. I don't really want to guide and lead people. I will. But up to a point. I'll only lead so much, but so much. Because the rest has to come from you. Because if some of it, right, if it isn't at least 51% coming from you, then it gives me domain over you. And it means I control and navigate you. I don't want that much. That's right. I don't want to give you that much of me. I don't want that much of you. Make a choice. You gotta make a choice. How do you want to live? Because the Thanatophobia is rooted in everything, man. The negative outlook on life, the nihilism, not if life has no purpose, then like why? Why be a part of this? Why participate? Why support? Why show love? But you accept Thanatophobia. You accept that, hey, you know what, man? I'm going to check out one day. But, hey, I did the best I could. I supported, I showed love, and I enjoyed myself while I was here. So, that's enough for me. That's enough for me. And you have to find what your enough is. What, like I've used the idea of, being on your deathbed and just having those last few thoughts and thinking to yourself, yeah, I did what I could, man. And I enjoyed this. Did what I could. Believe in it and owning it and knowing that it's true. What's going to get you there? That's purpose. That's the goal for me. At what point, not at what point, what are the acts that I can commit to that you don't have to accept it now, but you have to work toward being able to accept it. Like I haven't thought about this until maybe this past year, just accepting like, hey man, yo, it's gonna be okay. Like, I can't do anything about that, man. I can't do anything about that. I can only worry about what I can while I'm here, while I'm alive, while I'm conscious, while I'm able bodied, while I have the resources and support and community that I have. That's all I can do, and that's all I need to do. That's all I need to focus on. You spend so much time focusing, and I might have said this earlier, you spend enough time. Think about that maybe like on a heavy level, like really just like worried about it, but like not having it. The rest of it feels good, man. The rest of it feels good. And through that, it no longer becomes about me, right? I asked my professor the question, right? Like, like I don't want, I'm living my life for other people. I don't want that. That's not fair. And you fast forward, and I'm like, you know what? I'm living my life for other people, and I'm okay with that. To an extent, I keep it a buck. I keep it a buck. There's still a part of me that's like, ugh, but I accept it, man. I'm okay with it. It fulfills me. It fulfills me. It fulfills me. And the future goals, the potential to create more, the potential to inspire more, makes me happy. I'm smiling thinking about it, man. Just smiling thinking about the ideas. My fiance Erica and I watched Michael Che. What is it called? I'm gonna get the exact name. It's a new special on HBO Max. Not a special, but a comedy, a sketch show, actually. Excuse me. Come on. That damn Michael Che. This guy's the future, man. This guy's the future of comedy and entertainment. He gets it. He gets it. He asks the right questions. He gets it. He gets it. But just like watching him, and just thinking about, I guess going back to the idea of the external, right? So not watching, looking to find inspiration, but watching because I'm interested in him and his work, and through that finding inspiration. See, the inspiration is by default. Like I don't think you should actively chase inspiration. Like I'm gonna watch this and be inspired. Nah. You watch it for the entertainment value, and the inspiration should naturally come. So watching the skits and just laughing hysterically, like, yo, this guy's a genius. Finding the inspiration, but also thinking like, I can do this. I can make a sketch comedy show. Like I've thought about like maybe the rom-com isn't a rom-com. Maybe it's like a sketch rom-com show, something like that. But yeah, like his jokes, his analogies. I thought about that. And for me, seeing him, seeing he's 37, and like I looked it up because I wanted to know the age difference, because over the years, and this goes back, I guess, to like inspiration and consuming content to benefit you versus just consuming it for the hell of it. It's having thoughts and ideas. And earlier I talked about not having language, or like having perspectives and ideas but not having the language. And I read, I watch movies to kind of bridge the gap. So listening to Joe Budden, listening to the music series, listening to Nas, and they're both Virgos, if that matters to the ethereal energy, which I think it does to an extent. But They're older, they're wiser, they have more experience than me, so they've bridged the gap to a lot of the thoughts I've had, and they've gave life and language to them. Excuse me. In my mind, I'm like, if I'm 25 thinking this, and they're 30 in their 30s, like I have potential. I have potential. The only thing that separates me from them is the work ethic, right? That's really it. That's what separates, supreme beings from the roaches, right? Work ethic. Work ethic for self. So the inspiration, the things I watch, the people that I've become fans of or supportive of, I watch them for inspiration. That's what I want to consume. Like I said, I want to bridge the gap. I want to fill in the blanks for ideas. I want to expand on ideas. I want to say, I like that, but how can I elevate it? That's what I do. Like I said, I have a note section. It's full of notes. Rom-com, skits, ideas, funny lines, just setups, everything that's there, that's waiting for me, right? To kind of get myself to the next level. Excuse me. They're there. And watching consuming the right content gives you the inspiration to make your own ideas more unique. Like I said, or to elevate them. So Michael Che, like I said, he's 37. I'm like, I thought about that like 2 years ago. He's bringing this joke up now. So I'm ahead of him. I'm ahead of him. I'm gonna surpass him. I just gotta keep working. And that's the comparison. That's what you should be looking to other people for, right? Like I use it in a fun way, right? In a single-sided competitive way. Like I'm not a competitive person. The only person I really compete with is myself, and maybe that's part of the issue. Steel does sharpen steel, but narcissism tells me that, hey, you only need yourself to go up against, which is bullshit. And it works for some people, but I know it just kind of sets the goal, right? So I'm using their work, using them indirectly to kind of set a goal. Like he's funny, but I have more for that. Like I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast, and he had Dave Chappelle on, and they were talking about going to Joe Rogan. So Dave Chappelle and Jon Stewart were in Sweden, and Jon Stewart was like, what the difference is between socialism here and socialism in America. And I forgot the exact word that he used, but basically it's they all white, right? Everyone in Sweden is pretty much the same. So it's easier to have socialism when everyone looks like you. And this is something that I've thought about 4 or 5 years ago. So again, I'm like, I'm in my 30s. Like I have these funny thoughts. I have these great perspectives or funny perspectives. Jon Stewart's 40s or 50s, and he's just telling him that now, or Dave Chappelle's just not thinking about that. That could be me, right? That could be my perspective being shared. Because for me, I think, when you have an idea, it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, of course, that makes sense. But hearing Dave Chappelle being surprised about it was like, he's supposed to be like this great comedic thinker who knows more about life than me. And he didn't even see that. So I have potential. Consume the right content. Man. The subreddits, the Twitter feed, Facebook groups. They're not feeding your soul. They're not feeding your passions. Don't invest time. Or minimize the time. There are periods of times where I'm just on Reddit for a 1 hour block, and I'm just on it, and I'll just reply to as much fun things that I want to reply to. Then I'm done for 3 or 4 days. I got my urge out. I shared my thoughts. And that's what it is sometimes. Only consume what adds value to your life. Only consume what brings you peace, man, right? Like, again, sometimes I'll just be scrolling and just have this heavy weight and anxiety. Like, fuck, man. Like, everything is just rough. Everything is bad. Like, enough. But that's the reality. I need to stay grounded. I need to stay grounded. I need to stay aware. This is my news source. This is more real news than other news, right? But I take it in. And when I've had enough, I've had enough. And I find great inspiring content to counteract that. Podcast, great way just to kind of disconnect, man. Like, I used to, I don't know why, but for some reason prior to Joe Rogan switching over to Spotify, anytime he'd have a guest who was like a mathematician, a scientist, economist, any woman, I would watch because I want to learn more. I want to understand different perspectives. I want to just learn. I want to be inspired by ideas. I want to be inspired by stories. What's that for you? What are you consuming? That's going to shape your reality, right? What you think you become. What you listen to is what you think, which is what you become. There's a level of self-awareness, right? There's a level of self-ownership. Like I talk about owning fault, owning responsibility. You take ownership for your life. One of my good friends. Let's go by inspiration, right? I put being around great people. My friend Chef Drew on Instagram said to me once, I made the choices that brought me here. So like, this is my fault. Can you own that? Can you own your fault? Can you own that the choices you've made have brought you up to this point where you're not happy, where you're a little bit off, not where you want to be mentally, physically, spiritually? Can you accept that, right? It's part of it too. Like I said, like this is it's a lot to text, and I'll probably find a way to kind of text it and condense it, but also send the option out. But can you do all that? Can you accept all that? Can you go through the process? Are you willing to go through the process? Are you willing to go through the dirt? Are you willing to go through your lows? Can you face yourself at the pit of who you are? There's no practical step and guide to self-healing through anything. Sometimes it just comes when it comes. Nothing you can do about that. It could be a year, it could be 3 weeks, it could be 5 years. All depends on how much that conditioning has been, how long those thoughts and those chips have been planted and rooted on your body. But it starts with self, starts with ownership. And I'm sure I've jumped around between this is number one. Oh, this is number one. There's a lot of number ones. The official number one. Maybe, right? It started with self. And it is. I mean, it's rooted in self. It's rooted in accepting self. It's in accepting self. It's rooted in deciding for yourself. It's rooted in being willing to work, right? Because only you can work for yourself. It has to start with self. And the external, majority of the time, the external is going to let you down until you start the process of weeding out. That's part of the work. Getting rid of the things that don't bring value to your life experience, don't bring value to where you are mentally. Sometimes again, fitting wedging the gray in, right? Again, seeing content that you don't agree with, but what's missing a lot. What's missing in social media? Just tact, right? I've worked to the point where I'm just not. I don't attack people. I just ask questions. I just share my perspective and move along. That's what more of us need to do, right? When you're questioning someone's belief, someone's perspective, and just coming at it from a fair space, man. Just coming at it from a fair space. Not trying to force your hand, not trying to force your ideals, asking questions before assuming. People appreciate that. Some people do, right? Sometimes people don't respond, but some people do. But the more you do that, the more you create the space for dialogue, the more you create a space where people feel comfortable sharing ideas. It doesn't have to be direct, right? When you put music out, you don't know who's gonna listen to it. I don't know who's gonna listen to this. I don't know who's gonna be inspired or not inspired. See, I self-deprecate, right? I could have just left it positive, but I brought the negative to be fair and self-deprecate, because that's just the nature. Excuse me. You don't know, but you put it out there anyway. And that's what you have to do. You have to put it out there. You have to keep putting it out there. You have to do the work. You have to work. You have to keep working. What do you love? What do you want to do? What do you love to do? What do you enjoy doing for leisure? And are those things beneficial to you mentally, physically, and spiritually? Right? What's the risk reward? I enjoy playing video games still. Right? I used to play for hours on end growing up. Don't have time for that anymore. The long-term investment isn't worth it. So I readjust. Some days on the weekends, maybe I'll play for like an hour or two. That's it. Maybe one day during the week, I'll play for like 2 hours, late night. That's it. That's what it should be. Because I understand that I'm not supposed to just engulf my life into someone else's creation. Unless I have enough of my own to stand by, right? If you feel that you've done enough, you've made your mark in the world, you've done all you need to do, then by all means, or you just don't want to, by all means, consume. Play all the video games, watch all the TV, read all the Reddit posts, go through this, invest in the Twitter feed from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. You do that, and you enjoy that. But if you don't feel that way, there's more work for you to do. If you believe there's more work for you to do, you minimize the amount you consume. It's not worth it. Yeah, you enjoy life. Yeah, you invest time into leisure. You invest time into relaxation, however that looks for you. But it can't be the standard for life. Getting by can't be the standard. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if the Thanatophobia really ever goes away. The response to it does. And sometimes that's enough. Like I said, that's enough for me. I can live, if being able to live with nightly panic attacks, transitioning into, like, if I could live with it nightly, right? I can live with it monthly. If I can live with it monthly, I can live with it weekly. Excuse me, it should be the other way. If I can live with it daily, nightly, I can live with it weekly, then I can live with it monthly, I can live with it yearly until it just doesn't exist anymore. Hopefully, right? Just accept, accept, accept. There's more, there's more, there's more, there's more. At some point, you accept that this is a self sacrifice. And it becomes okay because you're doing what matters to you. That's all it is, right? It's your life. Uh, I'll always champion the individual. It's your life. So as long as you feel settled and complete, that's what matters. But depending on who you are, depending on your values, I always believe, I say all things self, all things community, that it has to be rooted in the overall experience relative to you, relative to the people you know and care about, and indirectly, it trickles out. And that makes you feel good. If I feel honored getting a message like that. Like, I'm not sure if it's the person who made the original post, but I feel honored. You want to be of service to someone else. That's healthy narcissism. I believe that I'm a good enough person that people can utilize me. That's healthy narcissism. Yeah. And like I said, I want you. I want you to share yourself. I don't need me. Like I said, I don't need a rapper. I don't need rapper friends. I don't need a Jay-Z. I want you. I want to know who you are. I want to know what you're offering. I want to be inspired. Or not, right? Everything doesn't have to be for everyone. And you have to accept that also. Acceptance, relativity, working, doing the work, mindful consumption, healthy body, healthy mind. Those are the pieces. Those are the pieces. And you work, you fail, you keep working. You fail, you pause, you readjust, but you keep working. It's exhausted to just think about the amount of work and the fact that, yeah, you're gonna keep working. You're gonna keep working. You're gonna keep working until maybe your dying day in some capacity. With a goal, like I said, the self-established goal, you make it for yourself. So whenever that day comes, everything in between has been your choice. Everything in between has been your decision. Everything in between has been you honoring yourself during this life experience and this life journey. Honor thyself. Honor thyself. That's part of it, right? And eventually, Thanatophobia won't matter. It won't matter that you won't exist forever. You've accepted that you're not meant to. That's part of it. Can you accept that? You start there. You work through it, man. You work through it. For as long as you need to, you work through it, but you keep working. And it becomes okay. It's not always going to be okay. But eventually, it becomes okay. Because like the professor said, man, you won't know. You won't be here to know, so it won't matter. But at that last moment, just go out in peace, man. Go out in peace. And that's all you can do. And that's your choice to make. All right. Until next time, peace.